I'm fired. Thanks for asking. Does anyone else remember that song from South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut? Movie only came out more than 20 years ago at this point.
I'm super! Thanks for asking. All things considered, I couldn't be better, I must say.
Anyway, hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and despite the very forcefully cheerful opening of this video, today, or yesterday by the time this goes up, was actually quite a bad day for me. I lost my job. And I'm not sure if I have an audience that really cares anymore. I mean, once I stopped talking about rideshare and found the location of the rideshare revolution, I'm not sure if I serve any purpose to this community anymore. But screw it, it's my channel, and sometimes you just have to vent, and it can be therapeutic. So if you care, indulge me. I'm going to share my story. So during the pandemic, I took on a job with my wife's company. This job will remain nameless. As to what they do and what I did there will also remain nameless. But let's just say we had dealings with banks, and that's all I'm going to say about that. And what we did with banks involved the housing market. Now, for those of you who have been reading the news, you may be aware that the housing market is in a very interesting predicament right now. Prices are extremely high, but mortgage rates are going up, and we're starting to see a cool-off period. And while people have been telling you, don't worry, it'll cool off, but there won't be an absolute crash, my personal opinion, the housing market's going to crash. And it will probably be an ugly crash to boot. The reason this is important is because I dealt with a lot of mortgage loans, and the applications for mortgage loans have gone way down in the last few months, to the point that this company started doing something that I had never seen them do before. When someone would leave the company, they would put a email with one person's picture in the email and say that this person is no longer with the company. But the last couple of weeks, there have been a couple of emails where a dozen or so pictures were sent out in one email, and that's when I realized that the layoffs had begun. And while you hope that you will ultimately not be part of the layoffs, no one hopes that they're going to get fired. I remember I told my wife that while I was fairly certain she was safe, seeing as how she's been there 4 or 5 years, and frankly, she's the only one who knows how to do what she does, there's really no one else, my role might not be as safe. I have been there for a little less than 2 years, and while I was the best in the department, my particular skill was shared with other people. So basically, I felt a little vulnerable, and it turns out I had reason to feel vulnerable. Because yesterday I was asked for an impromptu call with one of the supervisors, and the HR lady was there. Now, once I saw that, I kind of knew what was coming. And once they started explaining things like, we like working with you, but, this client has dropped orders. We must do things now to save the company. That's what you want to hear your boss saying, we're doing this to save the company. I mean, that makes you feel really confident about the future of the place you're going to work. But ultimately, they said, yeah, that this will be your last day of employment. Now, I didn't lose my temper or anything, and to be honest, I don't feel begrudging to these people. I think there's a couple reasons why I was let go above other people. One, they knew my wife would still have a job, and thus I would still have medical and dental and all that jazz. And the other reason is because even though I was the top performer in that department, I was also the only performer making bonuses. I was so good. So by getting rid of me, they could in a sense save an additional $400 to $600 a month. And the other people, while they might be a lot slower than me, there is not as much work to do and they're not making bonuses, so it kind of evens itself out. And I'm not new to being laid off. I don't think anyone who has lived as long as me, especially through the 2008 recession, has not been laid off and not felt the sting of being let go. And yeah, it hurts. You're mad. You lose your appetite for a few hours, but ultimately you do pick yourself back up. And I have not had a breakdown moment, probably because unlike previous times where I had been let go, this time I basically decided to look at the positives as much as possible. I mean, one of the positives, my wife is still working. Second positive, if we cut down to just the bare necessities, then we can scrape by. It might not be as much fun as it was before, but we will scrape by. And I guess a third pro to this whole thing is, even though we have to cut back on, entertainment and, that vacation to Japan might be delayed by a bit depending how long this bout of unemployment lasts. One of the things that actually might be considered a good thing is that most of my streaming services and video game services are actually paid off until next year, so there's no reason to cancel the Disney Plus. There's no reason to cancel the HBO Max. Criterion Channel just renewed 2 weeks ago. I've got a whole year on that. Paramount Plus is paid for. Really, the only ones that I have to cancel are Apple TV Plus and Hulu, because my parents share the Netflix password with me. Although I guess that's going to be coming to an end soon. But yeah, so I try to pay attention to the goods as much as possible. It was a very civil conversation. I even reached out to all the people that I worked with in a text and said, it was great working with you. Let's do it again sometime. My account was deactivated, so I could no longer log into the computer. And as a goodbye gift, they gave me a $25 Amazon gift card. I kind of wish I was making that one up, but yeah, really, this is my severance pay. And another positive, and I guess we're going to find out if this is real, is that I have been told that at the moment, this is the time to lose a job, because right now there are a bunch of companies hiring. Apparently, it's very easy to get a job right now. I guess we're going to find out if that's true. And even if I don't get a job for a while, basically we have the resources, the finances, the savings to basically live life uninterrupted for up to 8 months, and we're going to be making cutbacks, so realistically we can make this last quite a bit longer on just Katie's income and some side gigs of mine. Now, if some of you are watching it and you made it this far and you're like, hey, is there anything I can do to help? Really the best thing you can do, and it's very simple, watch the videos, share them, like them, comment. Even if you don't share them, just taking a few seconds to give a thumbs up, that will help with YouTube algorithm. And it's not just my channel. If there is any creator who you want to see succeed, you feel like they deserve more of an audience, you believe that they deserve more of anything, just watching their videos, liking them, commenting, this does more to help them than anything else that you can do. That said, if you want to go a step above and beyond, there are a few ways you can help out. You can become a Patreon member. You can send a super thanks below with a heart. I'm actually going to, for the first time ever, post a link below to my Bonanza account. Now, you do know that I sell things on e-commerce. I do not feel like I want to give out my eBay ID, but I do feel comfortable giving out my Bonanza account, and you can look at my store, and if there's anything you see that you would want, consider picking it up, because obviously it's going to help support us as we get through this transitional time. But more than anything, watching the videos and liking them and commenting and subscribing, those are the ways that you help everybody on this platform. And the best part is it's free for you, but it's good for us. Also, maybe turn off that ad blocker. I mean, just Just saying. And here's the good news, like whether, you guys do this or not is actually kind of irrelevant. Here's like the real good news for you guys. There will be more content on my channels now because I'm not going to be spending 8 hours every day applying to jobs. I'll spend a couple hours a day applying for jobs, but in the meantime, I now have a ton of free time on my hands and I've got to fill it. And I am going to be spending that time not only building my e-commerce businesses more, but I'm going to be making more content. Not only do I want to do more news stories, but this might finally be the time to make the long form videos that I keep saying that I'm going to make, but I just never seem to find the time to do it. And so this is an opportunity to finally make those videos. Not only maybe to potentially help grow the channels, but because, there's just something therapeutic about having something to do, and making videos is kind of how I started getting through the first unemployment period, at least, or the last one, I should say. Like, I was unemployed for a couple of years. I had just been laid off from Disney, and I was in a bad place, and I started making videos just to give myself something to do. And some of them actually did very well. I did some Simpsons DVD videos that shockingly are still being watched today. And then of course during this time period, that's when I saw the Uber email, and of course it changed my life, and I started making videos about Uber. And YouTube became a real business for a good 3 to 4 years before it finally collapsed upon itself. But maybe this is an opportunity to just get back to making videos because I love doing it, and now I've got the time to just indulge in whatever video I want to make, and hopefully you guys will be around to join me for those videos. But ultimately this is not going to be a pity party video. This is not a poor Apptrepreneur. I mean, I kind of look at the grand scheme of things, and it's like, I have my health. I'm actually, believe it or not, healthier than I've been in several months now. My wife is healthy. Her surgeries were a success. My wife is with me, and I love my wife. We don't have to cancel many of our subscription services. We'll still have some luxuries. And of course, the big measurement when I look at what's going on over in the Ukraine with Russia bombing them, you look at that every day and you realize your problems are pretty minuscule in comparison. So I will ultimately be okay. We are going to get through this, and I just wanted to talk about it because one of the coping mechanisms, and I'm sure some of you feel this way who have lost a job, when you lose work, and losing a job is a very personal thing. It's so personal, they made a movie about it with George Clooney called Up in the Air, and it is extremely, extremely good, and it really highlights, the personal loss that comes with losing a job and the feelings that you get from that. And so it's personal, and it hurts, and it's not fun, but at the end of the day, we have savings, we have our health, we have each other, we have businesses we can grow in one way or another. And if LinkedIn is anything to be believed, there are plenty of jobs out there, so maybe this unemployment spell won't even last that long. At the end of the day, it sucks. It happened. I wish it didn't happen, of course, but I'm going to be okay. And if you're going through something similar, you're going to be okay too. And I just want you to know that. So anyway, that's where we're going to end this video. I would like to know well, it seems weird to say, what do you all think about this? Obviously, like most people don't want to see other people lose work unless they're truly despicable people. And who knows, maybe I am that person to you. I don't know. But, I mean, did you ever go lose a job? How did you deal with it? How long were you unemployed? Did it change your perspective on life? Like, did you take anything from that? I would really love to know. So you know the drill. Comment below. It really helps. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And be kind to one another. Have a good one.